Hey guys, welcome to Error on Target. This week we are talking about the episode Crucible. This is the 4th episode of Season 2 of Arrow.
Yep.
There's lots of stuff that happened this week. There's so many twists and turns. It was nuts, man.
Yes.
So I love the way the episode started.
Yeah.
Started off with a bang, and I almost like it was a stark contrast between Oliver's like public life and into his private life as the superhero.
Yeah, I actually liked the balance that they struck between him as Arrow and him as Oliver Queen.
Yeah.
This was the first episode that they've done that well this season.
Yeah, I felt like the pacing was incredibly good, especially before that first commercial break. And before the commercial break, you saw one of the best paced sequences that we've seen so far on the show. I feel like.
Yeah, with a huge reveal.
Yeah, with a huge reveal. It was so well paced that I feel like almost like the next quarter of the show almost maybe slowed down a little bit, and I felt like it was like I wanted it to get back up there, which they did back at like a halfway point of the episode. It started ramping up there.
I'm okay with that. Like, I have no problem with the way, the ebb and flow of the episode.
Absolutely.
Like the way that they worked that out.
Absolutely. Okay, so we found out who the Canary is.
Yes.
We found out that guy. That was a really big reveal.
Yeah, it's Laurel's sister. Someone that's apparently supposedly dead.
Yeah, we thought she was dead. There was this weird, awkward moment, I feel like, early on whenever it was revealed. It was a perfect reveal, because I had no idea. Did you have any idea? Would you have guessed in your wildest dreams that it was her?
No, actually, I like that. I did not see that coming.
Right, and then whenever they revealed it, you look back and you go, "No, that makes perfect sense." That it's her. So,
right.
Because even early on, I think it was whenever he asked Oliver, Detective Lance asked him point blank if there was any chance, and he was like, "No."
Yeah, and
there's that moment where he hesitated.
Was that in the first season?
It was in the first season at some point. I think it was in there somewhere.
Right. I mean, going back to that moment. You wonder how long they've been planning this.
Yeah.
Did they plan on doing this episode 4, season 2? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Or did they just decide, hey, let's make her alive. We're bringing her back.
Yeah, and like I said, it's kind of one of those things that was just delivered perfectly. So I almost think that someone had an idea that she was going to come back and as another character, and then they organized the perfect way, starting with episode 1 of season 2, to make it happen and make it make sense in our minds.
Right.
While still catching us by surprise.
Right. Yeah. So that was the biggest reveal to me that blew my mind. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was just kind of in shock for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, you're just kind of you just kind of sit there and you go, really? Really? That was amazing.
The other big reveal is that Sebastian Blood, which you actually had talked about this before.
Yeah, on episode whatever the first episode he was in.
I think it was a second episode.
Yeah.
You had said, okay, he's up to something.
I called it. Yeah, I kind of called it.
And he is up to no good.
He's definitely up to no good.
He's injecting people with stuff and has a weird mask.
Well, what do you think? What do you think about the stuff he's injecting? You think this is an allude, are they alluding to Titan formula or Bane or something like that?
That's what I thought. Immediately I was like, okay, this is very Bane-esque, because you even saw
his muscles,
his arm was tensing up and kind of working out something, and what's weird is it's kind of reminiscent of the storyline in Arkham Asylum, the game with Joker or actually that doctor who's trying out the Titan fluid on the inmates.
Experimenting. Yep.
And some of them would die, but they didn't care. And so that's basically what he's doing. He's taking prisoners, injecting them with this fluid. Oh, they're dead. Well, we're just going to keep going until we get it right.
Yeah, until we find somebody and get the formula correct.
Which is wild, dude. They're bringing in so many Batman references to this series.
Yeah, League of Shadows. In fact, I think next week there was a teaser trailer, which you should probably post. It's they posted.
I'll post it in the show notes. StayOnTargetPodcast.com.
Yeah, and then that was next week. We're going to be dealing with the League of Shadows, that sort of thing.
Which is not surprising.
League of Assassins and stuff like that.
Yeah, not surprising. Black Canary, we've already established, has ties to them.
Right. And definitely, I think this is going to be something that kind of moves forward where we discover more about her on the island, how she survived, that sort of thing.
Yeah, which until this point, I was not invested in anything that was going on in the island.
And I think the thing is, every episode I've said, well, it seems like we're building towards something. And even this episode, we barely got anywhere on the island. Basically, all that happened on the island was Oliver got tortured for, a few minutes.
And we found out that the Black Canary was there.
Yeah, and we found out that Sarah was there. And so basically, I feel like we're building building towards something big. We haven't quite gotten there yet, but that didn't ruin the pacing at all for me. The scenes, they kept them short, they kept them sweet, so it made sense. That was the biggest thing I had with this episode. A lot of ground was covered, and pretty much all the characters were dealt with the same amount of time and the same amount of care.
Yeah.
But the pacing just worked out so much better, so we made so much more ground. You know?
Let's do a quick rundown of some of the character development.
Okay.
You know, we had Laurel is now kind of spiraling into this drug and
she had a big
alcohol-induced despair.
Yeah, she had a big week last week where she realized that she blamed herself and she felt guilty for all this stuff, and so like she's having just this bad time right now. So she's kind of spiraling into this alcohol thing. She's lashing out at people. She's projecting herself onto her father. All these things, and Lance, in fact, her father, Detective Lance, is one of my favorite characters on the show at this point. This episode, he had this really cool monologue. There's a really great scene, emotional scene between while he was talking at his AA meeting is what I took it as.
While she was downing some drugs and wine.
And he said, something about, she's my daughter and I want to be able to keep her safe and protect her. And at the same time, Oliver was talking to Sarah to try to convince her to tell her family that she's alive.
Right.
And this was really interesting to me because it kind of alluded to the fact that, well, you couldn't protect Sarah, so you really can't protect Laurel either. It's just this moment.
This is where I think they're going with. First, let me say this is something that this show's always done well is the relationships between parents and children.
Yes,
and so in the absence of Oliver's parents. On the series for this season, that's what Detective Lance is kind of becoming. He's becoming kind of a father figure. He's also, someone you kind of get help out and stuff like that. But he's definitely a voice of reason right now, and I like that. And they've always done that kind of stuff well. Where I think they're going with this is, if she goes ahead and tells her family that Sarah tells her family that she's still alive, that's gonna pull Laurel out of her whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to, but the other aspect of that is...
So I think it's going to happen next week.
Laurel, to me, has always been this kind of one-dimensional character where she really is this kind of clean-cut character. She's never really had this big, internal development, character-based emotionally. And so I liked the fact to see her internally kind of broken and to where other people are coming to her as opposed to her going to other people and saying,
she's always been kind of very self-righteous. And, while I like this, as far as developing her character.
Right.
I don't want to see it go too far.
Right. Right. Of course, it's one of those things that you don't want to get boring after a while.
Right. Yeah.
And this is
otherwise it's just just get over yourself. You know.
Yeah. It becomes a sob story as opposed to a emotional thing.
Right.
But the emotion of the episode, I felt like that was driven pretty well. I guess it was the team Arrow really didn't have a whole lot to do with this episode, in emotionally and invested. They did a lot on the backside with Diggle and going to see his military friend, and finding out about the guns and everything. But I don't think they really had a major emotional part in the
the only thing that they kind of hit on was the fact that Oliver is still lying to them.
Yes.
And was lying to everyone. And that's something that Diggle has always had an issue with.
Oh yeah.
So it's actually, it kind of surprises me to see it still happening.
But to me, it's like this. It's Oliver wanted to play God, he was playing God essentially with Starling City whenever he first came back by taking it upon himself to choose who he takes out and who he leaves.
Right.
And so he's still kind of doing that with his own history and his own what he chooses to tell people and whether he tells them the truth or lies. And he's still playing that role where he knows better than everybody. You know, and it just goes to show you he doesn't all the time.
No, not at all. And his past is coming back to bite him at every turn.
Oh yeah. Speaking of other characters, you kind of mentioned other characters. Summer Glau's character, Isabel Rochef, had a part in this one.
Yeah.
They haven't really played up much of her character, and I like the way she has that interplay, this witty interplay between her and Oliver.
Yeah.
But I want to see more from her character. I want to see more of what is her deal? Why is she here?
What is she all about? Why is she so involved in
Queen Consolidated.
Yeah, why does she want to buy it? Like, what's going on?
I mean, it seemed like to me in her conversation with Oliver about the company, she seemed like she had a pretty good grasp on like keeping the company solvent. You know?
Yeah. What was weird? Yeah, she was like, my first priority is to Queen Consolidate,
right?
And so is yours. It's just like, this is so weird.
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of one of those things where I just want to know where she fits into the puzzle piece of this season. Yeah. I know we're building towards something with her character, but we haven't seen it yet, and I'm excited to kind of see it because she's such a good actress, and because that character has such good potential. Yeah. But I just want to see it. I want to see more of it in the coming couple
what
episodes.
What she does well as an actress is make you believe that she has a connection with Oliver, like automatically. Just the way that she addresses him, the way she talks to him. Yeah. She pushes him in a certain direction without talking down to him, which is something that a friend would do. And so like that's how it feels. And so you're like, I want to know like what is the basis of all this?
Right.
Like, where is all this coming from?
Right.
And he doesn't it at least doesn't feel like he
doesn't resent
her. Yeah. No. Like,
it's just kind of like, in fact, whenever she made that remark about, that's where your top priority is as well, it almost seemed like he was taken aback, like, yeah, I guess it is. That's
and he agreed with it.
Yeah. Okay. So we had blood, and the mayor was the villain this time.
I actually liked that.
Oh, it was great. It was great. But once again, we have this villain who's an interesting person, and then he gets killed off at the end of the episode.
This is where like this show, like last season it worked because he was just going around killing people.
Right.
Okay. But then this season, I think they were like, well, how do we still get people to die if he's not killing them?
Right.
And while that's okay, like we're just killing off all these villains,
that are interesting characters.
They're very interesting characters. Yeah, it's not even like, okay, we're killing villains, we're killing characters.
Yeah.
And that's okay to a point. But
yeah.
Like if you keep going down that road, you run into a formulaic show.
Right.
Where a bad guy appears, you kill him, you're done.
Right. And it's kind of one of those things. The character, I love the character. He's a very street level, kind of gang based villain, but he's a really mean guy. He kills one of his own gang members.
Right.
Right off the bat. And I feel like the way we're going with this, the villains have been escalating on the show. Like they've been getting more and more, vicious.
Yeah.
And more dramatic.
Again, though, you see a really bold villain. Like we already had the villains stealing the FEMA trucks. Well, now we have the villains
rolling up on the
army weapons.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Well, okay. So here's the other thing. Like in the comics, the Sebastian Blood character. There's been a number of different types of. Like that character, different iterations.
Yeah.
And one of them, if I'm remembering correctly, he was like an arms dealer. And so that kind of plays into this episode potentially.
Well, yeah, maybe, but like the connection for the army guys was the mayor,
right?
Not Blood,
right? I mean, and but to me, the mayor seemed like he knew who he was talking to at the end. He said, "Why are you wearing the mask?" He may or may not have known him, but it kind of seemed like they might have been implying.
I don't know that he knew him because like. He wouldn't have tried to kill him in the street.
That's true.
Earlier,
unless he knew he was gonna miss or whatever. That did take a little bit of time for his guys to pull the trigger.
That seems like we're reading way too far into that.
Yeah, maybe we are. Maybe you might be 100% right on that. So, either way, Blood is a bad dude. Whether or not he's an arms dealer or not.
So, do you think? Like I've already said, I think that this is almost the exact situation that you had in. Arkham Asylum with
these jacking guys with like Titan or something like that.
Yeah, and he's going to release an army of like Titan
super villain stuff going
onto
on
the streets, so that maybe this is the other thing. What if it like he can control them?
That makes sense. I mean, that would make some sense. The other thing is like I don't know what's up with the mask. I can't place the mask anywhere in my mind.
First I was kind of like,
familiar.
Was that Bane? Like
looks like
somebody said something about Scarecrow. Like I mean, I don't really see. I see traces of both of those, I guess, but like it's not obvious.
I mean, masks are kind of a theme with superheroes in general, but with this show as well, because we had to have quite a few characters that would wear masks and stuff.
Right.
So.
The one thing that I think would be interesting with this storyline, like I forget what part in the episode that he said this, but Oliver said something like, I'll work with you to clean up the streets or something like that.
Right.
And
okay.
And Blood said something like, do you have the quote? Said something
I think so.
You know, there are other ways to do that.
Yeah, there are other ways. I don't think I wrote down that one specifically, but after Oliver took down the guys or got the guns and stuff, he said something about one man can change the world, and Oliver said, I don't want to change the world. I just, So I mean, it's kind of one of the, I'll leave that to you.
Right.
I'll leave changing the world to you.
Right. Well, it was whenever Oliver said something about you should run for mayor, and he said there's other ways to do this.
Do that.
And so it makes me think, okay, maybe he has good intentions. I mean, because otherwise he would be pulling just people from the glades and he's working on prisoners. But what's he going to do with that? Is he going to try to take over the city, or is he trying to clean up the glades? Like, what's happening here? Like, this may be just a complete something they're going to throw a twist in, and all of a sudden he's good. He's not the evil guy we think he is.
I mean, maybe you're right, but I mean, because Oliver has killed tons of guys, and so it's like he would be a murderer through the right looking glass there.
I feel like also the person to find out about this is Detective Lance.
It is
because there's cops in there.
Oh
this is obviously some corruption. There's obviously corruption in the police department,
and this is obviously something that would be right up his alley as far as I mean, he dealt with the doll maker last. I mean, so he's used to. I mean, he's done the creepy thing before.
But again, this is all very Batman-esque, which I'm okay with. Like, I love the direction of all this.
Oh yeah. Okay, so here's the other aspect. There's a couple of things there. Two more characters that I wanted to touch on was Thea and Roy. The way we found them, I liked the way that we had them this episode. It didn't seem like they were fighting.
Right.
We weren't doing this crazy, you're lying to me. But he was lying to her. While he was still lying, they were together.
Right.
And Sin, that character was pretty interesting as well. When she gets shot.
Right.
They have this moment in the hospital. This is the first time. Okay, I will start to admit to you that you might be right, that she might be coming around, because this is the first time where she legitimately is
okay with what he did,
okay with him being a hero, and okay with heroes in general, because he saved her life, and she's like, oh, you're a hero.
But did you not okay, this is the thing though, I love Thea in a supporting role, just the fact that she was supporting him, Roy, that felt good.
That felt better. It felt better for her character, and definitely felt better for his character too. Sin's the character, I really liked her portrayal. I mean, there was really kind of a cool thing for them to cross paths on the street like that, and her to call him out. That was a really cool development.
Right. As far Sin getting shot was obviously a catalyst for Sarah to reevaluate her priorities.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of what that did in regards to character development for Roy.
Right.
Does that make him want to clean up the streets more? I think he's still going to be playing the same role.
He's going to be playing the same role, I think.
But maybe this was more character development for Thea.
I think it was for Thea, and I think it was introducing the idea that she might be okay with some of these hero things, and I think it was also inserting, like you said, it was the catalyst for Sarah, but I think it was also inserting Sin into their lives in some sort of a strange way. Is she going to be
a recurring character?
Yes, I would.
She's going to be a core part of the show?
I would imagine so. I don't know about a core part of the show, but at the very least, to me, they've set her up as the alter ego right now of the Canary. She's the one running around on the streets. She's the one getting burgers, that sort of thing. Canary can't go out, during the day because she might be recognized.
She can, because she can go out as Sarah.
Right. But I mean, she doesn't want to reveal herself yet to her family. So I don't know. It's kind of one of those things that I think that she's going to be a recurring character. I don't know about a regular.
Yeah.
But I definitely think she's going to introduce something odd and strange into the mix with Roy in particular.
That may be true. I felt like they set her character up to be an expendable character. She said, I don't have any family or friends. She's already she's getting shot. She's. She's one of these characters. She's just a punching bag, as a character. And
sucks.
But I could see her being built up, over the next couple episodes or something like that, and then it be a tragic death that starts something else or something. I don't see her sticking around.
Right on. I mean, you might be 100% right on that. We'll have to see, because I mean, like you said, it's just kind of one of those things that you could see happen, and it could go either way right now.
Yeah, it could go either way.
Okay, so just to kind of wrap up, there was a couple things that I wanted to mention. Okay. There was, first of all, it was
you had some theories, didn't you?
Yes, I have some theories. The Titan.
Lay those on me.
Okay, so he swears that Sarah died on the island.
Right.
Okay, so here's the thing.
But, I mean,
Lazarus
so many ways to get around
Pits.
that.
Lazarus Pit is a big thing within the DC universe where that's how they bring people back to life. That's what Ra Al Ghul or Raz Al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul, however you say it, choose to say it. That's how he lives as long as he does.
Right.
Is he has the Lazarus Pit of the mystical waters, and it brings people back to life. It gives you really long life, if not eternal life. And so potentially, like there's moments in the comics where they've brought dead characters to the Lazarus Pit and brought them back to life.
So do you think the Lazarus Pit is on the island?
I don't know. It potentially could be.
Is that why it's so interesting? Like, why are people going to this island?
Well, they're interested in those skeletons that we found, those deformed skeletons. So I think we're kind of slowly introducing the superpower side of things with that. I think you might have been right a couple of weeks ago whenever you theorized that.
Okay, so this is what's interesting. Do you think that's how we introduce superpowers into, like, what if they take the bones to the Lazarus Pit on the island and like bring whoever that is back to life?
Oh yikes! I don't know if that could happen.
All right.
I don't know. That seems a little far fetched. That seems like way out there. I mean, if that happens, whatever.
Well,
but
like we're introducing at that point we're introducing magic into this world as well as superpowers.
And it's kind of one of those things that that might happen, but I wouldn't bet on it for sure. Okay, so then the other theory that I had was again with the kind of the Titan formula, that sort of thing, was what if we have a Titan formula? What if Bane exists in this world? What if potentially? I mean, we have so many characters showing up from the DC universe, so many people with twisted backstories. How long is it before we see Bruce Wayne, not necessarily Batman, but Bruce Wayne show up in Starling City?
Like what I hope that they hold off until like next season.
Gotcha.
And have Affleck come on as Bruce Wayne and show
hilarious.
up, just show up in an episode.
Yeah,
like sometime before Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, even just like a cameo where he's hanging out in the same club as as Oliver or something like that.
Yeah, or he buys something in the town, or like all. It can be something in passing.
Yeah, or even like on a news story, it's like Bruce Wayne was in town today.
Yeah, we already saw something about Central City.
Yeah.
Like they just have to make references like that. And I mean, for instance, way back in season 1, they made a reference to Ra Al Ghul and the League of Shadows, and now we're kind of seeing that come to fruition.
Right.
So I think there's a long game plan in this series, and I like that.
Yeah.
I mean. That would be great if we saw some Batman villains.
Yeah.
Like show up and then maybe like you see the effects of what they've done in the film or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty much everything I had. Do you have any expectations for next episode?
Next episode, like I feel like, I think that Sarah will. It could go two ways, but I think that she will reveal herself to her family.
You do?
Yeah. I mean,
I definitely think you might be right. We're going to find out a lot more about what happened to her. While he was on the island for 5 years, she was on the island or wherever she was.
Right.
And then some, because he came back to town and she's been gone for another year.
They kind of set that stage. They like playing a tension between Oliver and the Lances.
Right.
And if she reveals herself, they'll know that he lied to them.
Right.
And they will hate him again.
Right. Yeah,
and
once again.
Like, I understand that's a reason to do it. Another good reason to do it is, Laurel just kind of spirals, and like the only way to save her is for Sarah to reveal herself.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I think that it's going to go.
Right on. Okay, so I think you're right. I think that's going to be kind of a developing storyline over the next couple episodes, for sure. I don't know if it'll happen next episode, but I think it'll happen. It'll happen soon. So yeah. Especially because we want to keep her around. She's a great character.
Right.
Okay, so the only other thing that I want to mention was I've been wondering what happens to Slade. Where is Slade in the 5 years that Oliver was on the island? And apparently. Sarah wants to know this as well. That was like the second question she asked Oliver. She said, "Where is Slade?" And so you just we don't know what happens to his character while he's on the island and why.
What did
he isn't
Oliver
here.
say? I can't remember what he told her.
He didn't say anything. He didn't answer the question. He had way more questions for her.
Do you think Slade's still around?
Man, I don't know. That's the question.
And if they bring him back, is he a villain or is he someone who will help Oliver?
I don't know. It's just because on the island he plays this role of like he's kind of jealous. You don't really know where he stands a lot of times. So.
Right. I feel like they're taking. We're still on the journey with his character. Like, we don't know where it's going.
Right. So I definitely think that there's something going on with Slade because they dropped that hint again. So maybe sometime this season we'll find out something about Slade and what kind of happens to him, his story. All the action looked really good this episode. We kind of talk about that every episode, but yeah, all the action was incredible. I loved the moment with the Canary and Oliver where they were fighting together and then they switched weapons. That was really cool.
That was cool. Like the action was cool. I would say the cinematography was not as strong this episode as last episode.
Last episode set the bar really high for that.
Last episode was beautiful.
Yeah.
And this one was just kind of like, you know.
It seemed like it was there just as a supplemental, like to feed the storyline, not necessarily to give you emotional effects during the action.
Right.
So
yeah, for sure.
All right. So to finish up with some quotes, I already said a couple of them, but where Blood says, "One man can change the world," and Oliver says, "I'll leave changing the world to you." Mm-hmm. And so then Sarah says, "This is one of my favorite lines." She says, "We're both ghosts. We died on that island." And Oliver kind of replies, "No, we didn't."
Right.
And then Oliver says, "I know the earthquake brought you here, but your family kept you here." And he said, "If they knew the truth, they would never talk to me again, and it would be worth it."
Right.
Those are kind of the big moments for me in the episode.
You think about that last line. Let's end on that point. But like you think about that last line. You know, until this point, like Oliver's been carrying around a lot of guilt about Sarah.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know how she dies the second time, but you know, like
it didn't sound like it was going to be pretty.
At least, no, not at all. And we've always even though like he lied about her dying on the boat, like he still like carried that weight with him.
Yeah.
You know, like it was his fault she was on the boat.
Yeah.
And he's gotten a lot of flack from the Lances because of it. And so like it's got to be like a freeing moment. Like if he knows, man, like. She's not dead. Look, everybody. I didn't screw up.
Yeah, technically the first person that he killed, didn't actually die.
Right.
So, I agree with you. I think that's it was just an epic moment for his character. I mean, he felt a little bit freer this episode, and definitely there. Man, I love Oliver. I love the actors that play these characters. This is a great show.
Yeah. So you can check us out online at standtargetpodcast.com. You can watch our videos on YouTube. You can find the link on our website. You can also find us on Twitter. I'm at ChrisWright250.
And I'm JohnWright777.
John usually live tweets.
Yeah, I definitely live tweet during every episode, so you can definitely tweet back, check it out.
Yeah. So if you like any of these videos, you can check out some of our other videos on the channel. We have a hands-on review of the Xbox One from the Xbox One truck tour.
Yep.
We also have other recaps of Arrow.
Yep, and I have a weekly comic series where I go and I check out the comics and I tell you what comics I'm pulling. It's called John's Comic Run. All right.
Well, we'll see you next time on
Arrow on Target.